morning, everyone. I have the pleasure of being able to introduce our speakers. Shane has met and Chris hasn't met, I think, but excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. So Shane Peters, since 2023, Shane is the program lead for the Good Greens Food Reclamation Program, and that's an initiative under the Downtown Farmers Market. And through this program, Shane has coordinated the redistribution of surplus farmers market goods to local shelters and food serving organizations, tackling both food waste and food insecurity in Windsor's urban core. In addition to leading Good Greens, Shane supports broader BIA sustainability and pace-making efforts through grant research, market activations, and public greening initiatives. Oh, we've got somebody that likes to do grants. Did I say that out loud? That strengthen ties between residents, vendors, and the downtown environment. In 2004, Chris McLeod found himself adopted by Windsor. Cool, yeah, I'm the same. I've been adopted. The licensed real estate broker and co-owner of Realty One, sorry, I'll be a little closer. One Group Iconic, located on the main floor of the Hive on Plisher, has been a real estate professional since 2009. Having served thousands of happy customers with Remax Preferred Realty and Prudential Select Real Estate. Previously an engineer at Johnson Controls and a passionate community activist. And the well-traveled Oshawa native says, there is something special about Windsor that captured and kept his attention. So I've been introduced and I call to the floor Shane and Chris.
New thing with technology.
Crazy things. So good morning, everyone. It is our honor to be here on behalf of the Downtown Windsor BIA. Deborah gave a wonderful introduction, but just to recap, my name is Shane Peters. I'm the program manager of the Good Greens Food Reclamation Program, what we'll be talking about today. And I'm the assistant manager of the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market. To my right here is Chris McLeod. He is the chair of the Downtown Windsor BIA Board of Directors, and he's been doing a wonderful job as my superior for the last 2 years. So thank you all for giving us a chance to be here and speak on our program and our market and our community. And yeah, let's get into it. So first off, did you want to say anything?
Well, so you know, there's some wonderful lead-ins that I heard this morning, and the wonderful work that your organization is doing with regards to helping those in need and the food programs and can drives and those kinds of things. And that's really a great lead-in to what we're trying to do through the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market and through our food reclamation program. So for those of you that don't know, the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market operates every Saturday from the 1st of April through the end of October. We currently have over 70 vendors every Saturday. We get between 2,500 plus people that come downtown on Plisher Street. So we close Plisher Street between Wyandotte and Park. And it's just a great, if you haven't been downtown and you have this, you know, kind of, I think in our community, sometimes we have a bit of a concept of what our downtown is. And I think if you come downtown on a Saturday and you see the vibrancy of, you know, hundreds of people downtown, the issues that we have really kind of meld into the background. And I'm a huge downtown supporter. Our business is downtown. We develop downtown. We have a 24-unit apartment building that we built downtown. So we're big believers and supporters that the downtown is the heart of our community, and how can we, you know, bring that back. So I would encourage you, if you haven't been downtown in a while, come downtown on a Saturday morning, and it's really phenomenal. Do you want to go to the next one?
So,
go ahead.
Okay. So the Downtown Windsor Farmers Market, it really is that community hub right in the heart of our city. It's a good outlet for local farmers, other food producers, artists, artisans, helps foster that community connection and boosts the local economy. It really helps keep our dollars local, bring it to these 70 plus vendors from all across Essex County, and just distribute funds within the community the right way. It also encourages healthier eating habits and physical activity because it gets people out, gets people active, as well as offers a whole lot of whole foods, locally grown whole foods at that. So it really helps avoid those global supply chains that are maybe a little too over dependent on nowadays. Also helps promote and celebrate the diversity of our economy, of our community, of all the different things that we offer. And then last year, we applied for Farmers Market Ontario's Best Market of 2024 award, and we were actually awarded it in February. So I got the honor to go out to Niagara and accept the award in front of a whole group of market managers. We got to speak on the Good Greens program and its success so far, which we will get into in just a moment here. But first, just a little bit to demonstrate the impact of the farmers market. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the province of Ontario's Tourism Regional Economic Impact Model. It's this tool online that allows you to plug in the number of visitors and whatever other metrics you may have and see what the economic impact should be of that type of event. So for the farmers market, doing the trim report for that, it comes out with $360,000 in weekly visitor spending directed to our downtown, and that translates to about $11 million per year per 31 week market season. So it's quite an impactful initiative, quite a significant thing to exist in our downtown and draw people into it. So with that, we'll move into the Good Greens Food Reclamation Program. So this was started in October 2023 by the BIA. It was started under a grant by the Libro Credit Union and then continued the next year by a grant from Hydro One through their Energizing Life Community Fund. So it's a food reclamation program running alongside the farmers market. They're intertwined at every step. So it addresses food security and waste by purchasing the surplus produce, preserves and baked goods at the end of the day from our participating vendor partners. And then we take it back to the downtown BIA office and reorganize it to give it to 7 different shelters within the downtown. So this is what our operation looks like, just that collection at the end of the market. And you may notice I said purchase in the last slide. We do purchase these goods from the farmers, from the bakers, from the artisans. So it really drives the money back to them in a way, help impact all of Essex County by supporting the economy, and then impact the downtown through meals served. So we sort the goods equally to give to our shelters, and then our shelter partners actually come and pick it up from the office. So it's a very efficient, very quick process. It takes usually between an hour and an hour and a half after market, which just keeps things nice and streamlined, nice and efficient, and easy for the partners to engage as well. Yes, you have a question?
Quick question. So you said you purchased the prawns. So does that mean that every week, whatever's left over in the downtown market, the BIA purchases and distributes?
Not all of it. We do have, since there is kind of funding capacities of the program, we do have weekly allocation amounts. So we'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, a couple $100 ranges up to $600 per week in the fall that we spend at the vendors, and we do it at discounted prices. So we're often getting a really good deal. They're getting a little compensation for stuff that might otherwise go to waste or that they would have to haul back to wherever they're located. So just to talk a little more on our operation, through our traditional operation, we collect a lot of data, and you may see with the report in front of you guys, we really go ham on that, and we track 20 different measurables, different parameters to kind of prove the efficacy of the program. We also periodically do community engagement booths. Now, last year we did these every week to raise engagement. This year we've moved them to once per month just to kind of ease the finances and expenses on it. But we set up a booth at the farmers market and just talk with any visitors about what we're doing there. This year we've been offering a lot of little craft activities, kind of agriculture themed, hands-on stuff for the youth particularly. And then on top of that, we also do a seasonal school program in some different schools in the region. So the spring of 2024, we went into a couple kindergarten classrooms. The city of Windsor worked with us and donated us a bunch of vegetable seedlings. So we got to give the kids each a seedling for them to take home, grow with their parents, learn a little bit about backyard agriculture and what we can produce in our home, basically in our home, in our region. So school program has been really successful, and that's something we want to continue in the future. And then just a handful of our supplying partners, 21 different local businesses who act as vendors at the market have contributed to the program thus far. You can see some of the brands on the right there. And variety of products, we've gotten a whole lot of local produce, which is the primary focus of the program. That's where a majority of our funds go. Secondary is baked goods, and then tertiary is preserves. We've even gotten some hygiene products as well at the market, kind of extra stuff vendors have thrown in for free just to have that little bit of extra stuff to give to the shelters. The vendors have done a wonderful job of seeing the mission we're trying to accomplish here and contributing what they can to help support it, help keep it going, help make it thrive, really. So some of our distributing partners, this is where the impact for the downtown core comes in. We have 7 partners distributing food. There's the Downtown Mission, DWCC, the Downtown Windsor Community Collaborative. We've got the Welcome Center Shelter for Women and Families, Windsor Youth Center, Salvation Army, Feeding Windsor Essex, which operates out of the Anglican Church in downtown, as well as St. Leonard's Halfway House, which is a transitional program for people exiting a life of crime. And then here we've got a heartfelt video starring one of our farmers as the recipients of the program. This video was put together by Hydro One, our sponsors for our current year. And as they said in there, access to food in the downtown isn't always an easy thing. Most residents in the downtown actually live more than a kilometer away from the nearest full service grocery store. So with that, downtown Windsor is considered a food desert. And on top of that, there are many other barriers. Downtown is home to a lot of kind of underserved demographics who may face other challenges in our societal structure. So finances are a big thing as well, leading to a lot of people needing food banks, and it's actually risen something like 76% in the last year or two in Ontario, the demand for food bank usage. So programs like Good Greens are really necessary in the way that we help support the social service organizations so that they can redirect their resources, their capacity elsewhere, and help offer those mental health services or addiction services or employment services. So really help freeing up some of their capacity to do more is a big aspect of the program. So just to talk a little bit about our impact, some of our numbers. To date, we've reclaimed over 16,500 pounds of produce, 5,000 baked goods, and 47 liters of preserves, being jam or honey. With that, we've engaged over 40 volunteers, most of whom are youth from post-secondary or high schools. And then with that, that's all translated to over 22,800 meals served through our partners. Now, something we didn't put on here, something I've calculated in our report that I've handed out there, is actually the greenhouse gas savings as well. And it's based on industry benchmarks. It's not exact, it's not 100% accurate, but we've reduced or avoided something like 7,000 kilograms of CO2 equivalent through the program. And that is through avoiding bringing this produce to landfills or composting, where it'll produce greenhouse gas that way, and also avoiding the need for new production by keeping these goods in the food system. Now, this here is a chart of how much produce we reclaimed from 2023, our pilot season, to the end of 2024. Now you can see at the left there, we got a bit of a spike. That's our pilot season. And then it drops a little bit for springtime and slowly climbs up towards the end of the year. So that kind of trend is something that was very, very prominent last year. And that kind of informed our funding decisions or our spending decisions for this year. So we've stuck to this kind of food budget. March and April, we spend about $350 a week, and then increase through the season until in September, October, we're spending $550, $600 a week at our vendors, giving them that little bit of compensation for their goods. Now, talk a little bit on the cost efficiency of the program. The average cost of produce in 2024 was $2.5 per kilogram. Kilogram is about 2 pounds, and 2.2. And then there's a typical rule in food service that 1 pound equals 1 meal. So with that, you can kind of see we have a little slogan on some of our print materials: $5 equals 5 meals. Because $5 spent under the program typically leads to 5 meals served at our food service partners. So on top of that, average cost per baked good is $1. Average cost per liter of preserves is $4, which is extremely low because of some very generous vendors. Our redistribution success rate, so once the food gets to the shelters, how much is actually going to waste still? And only 2.7% actually went to waste in our 2024 season. So I believe that equaled about 1 week of extra goods. So 1 out of 31 weeks kind of went to waste through the program. On top of that, among our different food service partners, they serve up to 10,000 clients per week, which is pretty substantial. And then cost savings. So I'm not too sure how well you guys can see this little chart here, but in the report there, we took the price of goods that the Good Greens program spent, and we contrasted it to the retail price for that time for that good. And with that, we saved between 20 and 80% on retail costs. So we are getting the produce at a really, really good deal, and really making our money go the distance in terms of impact. Now this is the Good Greens spend since inception. So on the left is our 2023 pilot season. We see a little bit of spend there. And then this middle block is our 2024 season. The spikes at the start are kind of from capital costs for branding, for printing, for that kind of thing to set us up for the long term. And then we see a little bit of a gap through the winter season there, and our 2025 season is on the right here. So this is where we're at right now. It's been nice and steady this season so far, but just to kind of highlight what's funded what, Libro Credit Union took us through 2023 and through most of 2024. We switched August 24th, 2024. And that's when we started being funded by Hydro One. And this year is the 2025 spend. So this brings us to about August 1st. We do have a couple weeks under the belt here, but we don't have all the finances all reconciled yet. But Hydro One takes us to about September 6th, 2025. After that, Rotary was actually kind enough to donate us $1,000 about a month or so ago, maybe. So that, combined with some community donations from this year, is going to bring us an extra month to the end of September. But after that, we are kind of in the dark. We're applying for grants for next year. But for this last month of operation for this year, we do need to kind of scrounge up some resources and kind of see what we can muster from the community. So that's where we're at right now. But based on our 2025 spending patterns, every $1,000 of funding given to the Good Greens program translates to 1.4 weeks of operating the program. Translates to 213 kilograms of produce reclaimed, or 470 pounds, or 650 meals served to the community. So very quantifiable impact, very cost-efficient impact. And with that, we just have a kind of slideshow of photos here that hopefully is working. But with that, we want to open the floor a little bit for questions, unless Chris here had anything else he wanted to say.
Fantastic job.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so open the floor to questions.
Yeah.
Years ago, I was in Boston and I went to the farmer's market. And I really commend you for what you're doing, because in Boston, the vendors, the farmers, literally at the end of the day take their produce, throw it out onto the street, and a front unloader comes by, swoops it up and puts it in the dumpster and trucks it to a landfill.
Really?
Yeah, so this is great that hungry bellies are being fed.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anything legislated in that would help avoid what Bob's saying? Because I know in France, they mandated supermarkets to make sure they, donate, things that have expired food and whatnot. Is there anything coming forward that you can think of or know of in legislation that's going to do things not quite that dramatic, because it's going to take a lot to do that? But
Right. To my knowledge, I don't really know of anything in Ontario that's coming that way for kind of enforcing any sort of direction for food waste. Municipally, we're getting the green bin program this October. I'm sure all of you have heard about that. That's a really big step for the municipality, but it doesn't really tap into the retail industry per se, or really producer industry, wholesalers, anything like that. There's a whole lot of greenhouses in Windsor, Essex. Something like 50% of all of Ontario's greenhouses are located in our region. And some have, systems for directing their waste to the right places, but for the most part, there's nothing enforced that way.
But you're starting it at the farmer's market level, at least.
Yes, exactly. At that local level, focused on locally grown goods. So really just keeping things in the community. Yes, sir.
We have our numbers person, and I really appreciate you showing us a cost benefit. I wish all other community organizations would do so, so you justify their existence. You've done so in spades. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate that.
I was going to ask about that, like how are you tracking all the data? Like, do you have a data analyst, or how do you track some of that?
I'm the data analyst. And this report, I was lucky enough to kind of have some time after our 2024 season to just really give my all to that. And it's something like 60 pages. At the end, we've even put together a compilation of all the new news articles that mention the program, or magazine articles as well. There's a few of them. So it's very, very thorough. I've done my best to keep it that way. And then in terms of our broader calculations, like the greenhouse gas, I did my best to find industry benchmarks, industry metrics, source or cite them in the report, and then calculate our impact that way. Yes, sir.
Maybe, I forget your colleague's name there, you can talk about the spin-off, or has there been any noticeable spin-off to the downtown merchants that, have you seen, more activity that people are coming downtown once they've discovered the farmer's market, or other businesses opening as a result of this?
So I think, yes, in terms of how we plan the rest of our events. So the farmer's market is a great draw for people. People know what's going on. We consistently get that 2,500, 3,000 people downtown on a Saturday morning. So what we try to do is work off of that in planning afternoon events and evening events that then keep people downtown and get that exposure to our downtown businesses. Our downtown is still struggling when it comes to vacant storefronts. We obviously, have a larger proportion of addiction and mental illness and those types of health issues. I personally believe that the solution to our downtown is more people living downtown. I think that when you have a downtown where people come in the morning and then leave in the afternoon, it's hard to support the growth of businesses downtown. So my vision when I stand at the market is that's there every day because there's 5,000 more people living in our core. And so that's what I work at every day is how can we bring more development, bring more people, bring more housing downtown so that people will live, because that ultimately will bring those businesses that will need to be there in order to service people's needs. So it definitely is impactful. It definitely, I think, shows a vision, a glimpse into what our future downtown could be. And I think it's great. Again, if you haven't been downtown, please come down and experience it. I think it'll change your perception of our core. And every time we can do that, every time we can change and give people a great experience downtown, we're one step closer to making that vision a reality.
We do have a question on Zoom.
Oh, we
Yes.
don't have.
Good morning. Thank you for the presentation, and thank you for the work that you're doing. I was going to ask that you could provide a copy of your PowerPoint, and in particular, kudos to the vendors who are providing the goods. These are obviously boutique businesses, and their I guess profit margins are probably not that big. But what I'd like to do is get a copy of your presentation, identify those vendors, and maybe send some business their way. Not much, but what I can do and what the rest of us can do, and also mention to them when we go in that about their participation in your program, and that's one of the reasons that we're coming in to support them. So if you could send that PowerPoint, that would be great, and we could share it with the members.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Have you, you talked about a lot of benchmarking that you've done, and clearly this area has the lion's share of greenhouses, as you mentioned. So have you partnered or learned of programs similar to this elsewhere to learn about what works for them or what doesn't work for them? And also, have you had the opportunity to share this wonderful work, like showcase it, like somewhere that all of Ontario could, recognize what wonderful work is being done and perhaps, model it and use it elsewhere? Yeah.
So I'll touch on the latter half of your question there first. As I was mentioning before, when we got to go out to Niagara and accept the Market of the Year award, I was put in a room full of market managers from across Ontario and got 10, 15 minutes to talk about the program in a really similar slideshow. We actually used those slides as the kind of bare bones to create this one. So it was really, really meaningful. I was so nervous, but it was really meaningful, and we did get to connect with a lot of people after that presentation and exchange information. Nothing to my knowledge has come of it yet in terms of replicating the program, but that was, I'd say, our most significant way of distributing news. On top of that, the Hydro One commercial that we saw here, Hydro One did a fantastic job with kind of advertising it very broadly. Our one counselor who's on the board, he came in, he's like, I went to watch Deadpool and Wolverine on the weekend, and guess what I saw before the movie? And it's like they really did great with spreading that far and wide just to get knowledge of the program.
I'm thinking you should go to one of those all Ontario mayor meetings, because honestly, you know, I mean, all these issues that exist in every downtown of every city and mid-sized town, you know, it can do nothing but benefit them. And my thoughts are, you know, perhaps move right to the top.
Absolutely.
But anyway, it's great work, and thank you for all you do.
No problem. Thank you. And
Thank
yeah, I did have a first part of that question.
I just wondered if there was other areas that do something similar that, you know, like you've talked about looking for funding for October and things like that. And obviously, you know, every organization has lessons learned and things to share with others. So I just wondered if there was any opportunity, because as you said, you know, the lion's share of greenhouses are in this area.
So the one thing that pops into mind for that is the Southwestern Ontario Gleaners.
Yeah.
They're the one food system or program I know about that works with the greenhouses on their waste. So they take, I believe it's all the stuff that.
We participate at Gleaners regularly.
Well, there we go. There we go. Everyone knows the Gleaners. But yeah, that's the one that pops into mind for regional similar initiatives.
You talk about the funding and the funding running out. This is a DWBIA program. I'm assuming they initially funded the program to get it off the ground. So what happens if you don't get funding going forward? Does the DWBIA step back in and continue to fund it?
So we're, one of the things that Shane does is grant applications, so we are pursuing some grants for the program. The BIA believes strongly in the program. The market is a self-funded, so there isn't a operational cost to running the market. It's funded through vendor space purchases. So the market itself does have some revenue that then, if necessary, I mean, the program is incredibly important to our community, and we'll continue to fund it when there are shortfalls. But our goal is to continue to do outreach in order to continue to fund the program. But in no way will we see it lapse.
We do have a committee that does provide funding to local community organizations.
Small, but they're powerful.
Yes.
What I was gonna ask is, how does it work? Not exactly, but you don't take the food that you get from the vendors excess or before they leave it with you and you give it all to Gleaners. You actually divide it, use it, and give it to food banks, or what happens?
Yeah, so that's where the volunteers come into play. We have a whole team, usually 5-6 people a week is what we end up with. They'll come in. The BIA office is actually located right on the market strip, so it's very easy, very convenient. We have carts to get it from the vendors, wheel it into the office, and then there we divide it. We try and do equal divisions, so no matter what the organization is, we try and give them the equal amount of goods. And yeah, we just reorganize it into paper bags. That's where we do all the weighing, just tracking for what we're actually taking in, making sure our reporting is there. And then, yeah, equal donations. The shelter partners come to pick it up at the office. And yeah, as I was saying before, it's like an hour and a half process at max.
So sometimes more, sometimes less.
Yeah.
And it's at every point that you become overwhelmed that there is kind of like, wow, so much left over? Because if the market's getting bigger, it just makes me think.
Right. There was a couple weeks last season, I'd say, where we were just like, oh my God, this is a lot of produce. And it typically happens in the fall. So we're expecting a few instances of that this coming fall. But with that, just hoping we got the right amount of people. Operation, it's online. Our time slots are until 3:30, so it is that hour and a half. The volunteers don't mind spending that extra half an hour if there is more goods.
Well, that was fantastic. I think we're all gonna agree that that's a great program, and we are so happy to see it here in Windsor. And I think there's a huge need, and like you said, food does exist down in the downtown core. I mean, I can only think of the one store on Dwight.
Yeah, food based.
Yeah. And so everywhere else, it's quite a distance for people to travel to get food, so this is amazing. And a lot of those organizations we've supported, and many of our Rotary clubs have supported over the past few years, so it's really great to see this kind of program happening, and I'm so glad that you guys were able to make it this morning, and I'm so glad I made it to be able to see you guys come this morning. So I will be giving a little gift to our guest speakers, and so I don't know if this is one of your vendors, but anyway, it's Sun Parlor.
I think one of them actually does
Yeah,
carry that.
yeah, so anyway, so this is a nice little token of our appreciation for you guys coming out and cracking on. Yeah, and I met Shane over a bazillion different environmental projects, and this weekend, so I'm just doing a little shameless plug here for Leo Silvestri's.
Move to your left, move to your left.
Oh, then you're covering the wheel.
How about if I stand here? Okay.
There we go.
There's the Monarch Festival this weekend at on Erie Street, so please come out and oh, sorry, stop talking, Deborah. Thanks, guys.
I'll be there as well, actually.
Yeah, that's what I
Festival, yeah.
I figured.
I think that's when you met your last trip.
Yeah.